it was
I still
disappointing,
think
but
Hamzat deserves a rematch. That was his first
that's
defense.
crazy. That's insane.
That's his
That's a
first
terrible
defense.
take. A lot of people lost money because they ran to the books and threw a bunch of money on Joaquin Buckley.
This is Corner Talk.
What's going on, guys? We had an insane week of fights. UFC 328 was just chaos altogether, man. From the Freedom 250 presser to missed weight allegations to the outcome of the fights on Saturday. It was a crazy card. I had a great time in New Jersey, even though I hate that state. It's disgusting. It's not my
I
favorite place in
agree,
the
dude.
world.
All the the roundabouts and stuff, like the way they get off the
No, it's
highways and
just
stuff.
Newark is just an extremely dirty place. Like it's gross. But yeah, man. Had a great trip this weekend. Got to meet some people, had a good time. But man, I can't wait to talk about it because I got absolutely slaughtered. How was your weekend?
That's been pretty good. I started working on streaming, making some gaming content and whatnot. So try and hit the ground running by the UFC 6 game release, But that's small potatoes compared to you had a big weekend, dude.
Man, let's get into the card actually. Now that I'm let's go ahead and start on UFC 328. A little recap. So we had Sean Brady versus Joaquin Buckley. Man, I was so happy that Sean Brady went out there and dominated. Like, obviously, there was really weird line movement on Friday that everybody was talking about. I don't know what caused it. Sean Brady says he doesn't know what caused it. There was no injuries in camp. It was just some weird line movement. Somebody must have just dumped a lot of money on Joaquin Buckley, but the line shifted from Joaquin Buckley being like, I think it was like a plus 170 at one point, to being like almost a 2-1 favorite. It was crazy, man. And I was a little worried because of the line movement. I thought, maybe there was an injury that we just didn't know about on the Brady side, or I don't know. I didn't know what to think, but I know a lot of people lost money because they ran to the books and threw a bunch of money on Joaquin Buckley. And to be honest, I'm glad. Like, this is one of the times that I went with my gut and I was just like, Sean Brady is going to get this done. Couldn't have felt better Saturday night when he went out there and dominated. 30-25s on two of the scorecards, and then 30-27 on one of them. What an absolute domination. Like, Sean Brady must be one of the strongest welterweights because the amount of strength it probably takes to hold a ball of muscle like Joaquin Buckley down is crazy, and Sean Brady made it look easy. What were your thoughts on this fight?
I think, yeah, he showed out. I mean, he did what everyone knew he would do, and yet there was nothing Buckley could do to stop it. And that just really shows the how elite his grappling is and how much further ahead he is than Buckley. I thought Buckley's wrestling was going to be savvy enough to neutralize it and land a power shot. But
Bro, did you see
I
the
mean,
video of him saying that, "Oh, I'm not training any wrestling. I'm just working on my boxing"?
bro, I hope he's trolling.
I don't know. He posted that before the fight and kind of
I don't
showed.
know, dude.
So,
I don't know.
bro, 5 significant strikes. This man landed five
Yeah,
significant strikes in the fight.
all that boxing training only land fucking 5 strikes. That's nuts.
Insane. 12 minutes of control time for Brady, 4 takedowns.
30-25. Hats off, Brady.
Yeah, what an absolute masterclass. But congrats to Sean Brady. Love to see the win. Let's move on. The next fight we had. Oh, nope. Let's skip Waldo. I don't even want to talk about that fight. Let's talk about the co main event. We had Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira. I'll start off by saying I got absolutely slaughtered. I was so confident on Tatsuro Taira to go out there, show that there was a huge skill gap in the grappling. I thought he was going to get it done as soon as this shit hit the ground. I thought that Taira was going to be able to just implement his game plan, whether it had been, significant strikes from mount, setting up a submission. I thought that Taira was going to be able to get it done. And instead, he got the takedowns and did nothing with them. He was so content on just laying on top of Van. Joshua Van, perfect execution on, controlling the hips of Taira, getting him off of him, working back up to a knee, getting back to the feet. And everybody knew that Joshua Van had the better hands in this matchup. That was no surprise. I thought he was going to put him out in I think it was the second round when he dropped him. Tyra ended up coming out and looking actually better in the third round and in the fourth round. And then it was just too much damage by Joshua Van. He got the TKO in round 5. I saw some people say early stoppage, but I don't know, man. It didn't look like it was going to get any better for Tyra. And I also thought Tyra was probably going to lose on the scorecards at that point anyway. So the ref jumped in, fighter safety first. How did you feel about this fight?
Oh man, it's another undeserved KO on Joshua Van's resume. I'm just playing. No, absolutely. I think I mean, hats off to Joshua Van, dude. He went into this as the champion and the underdog. That's insane. And
Yeah.
I mean, he showed out and he silenced all the haters. There's a lot of criticism if your rise to gold is not worthy. And his, unfortunately, the way he got it was very questionable. A lot of people doubted him, and he went out and showed that he deserves to touch UFC gold. And I'm excited. The flyweight division, I remember thinking it was dead as soon as Pantoja got the belt because he had already beaten everyone. I was like, what are we gonna do? He stretched it out a couple of years, made it entertaining, but now it truly feels like there's life in this division.
Yeah, man. I really expected more from Tetsuro Taira. I was definitely one of the doubters that Joshua Van shut up. But you know what? One day I hope that I get to go to 4-Ounce Fight Club. I want to roll with Joshua Van. I want my lick back, bro. I can't believe that I was so confident on Taira just for him to go out there and get smoked. It was so disappointing.
You'll roll with him if he can spar with you after.
Hell no, I don't want to spar with Joshua Van. Joshua Van will murder me on the feet. No, thank you. I don't want any. But let's move on. That was a banger fight. Now we have the main event. Another one that I just can't believe it, man. I can't believe it. I knew that Sean Strickland had a chance. Like, it's not that Sean Strickland was going to just go in there and, get subbed in 1 minute, but I just didn't expect the fight to go this way. I thought that Sean Strickland was going to either one, defend the takedowns and then find the finish late. I thought that he was going to put on a little bit more pressure, land big shots on the feet, get Hamzat out of there. But Hamzat just, I don't know, man. Maybe it's the weight cut issue. Maybe, I just don't know, man. It's surprising to me that Chimaev, followed the game plan perfectly first round. He went out there. He did exactly what he needed to do. He was able to control Sean Strickland. And then going into the second round, he just gives one lazy shot. Sean stuffs it. And he pulls guard. He just flops over and just looks like he doesn't want to be there all of a sudden. And then from that point on decides, fuck it, we're going to make it a stand-up fight, which is exactly what Sean Strickland wants. And then goes on for another, 3 rounds and decides to take one shot in the 5th to, have a little bit of control time again. It was absolutely disappointing. Disappointing performance for Chimaev. I've heard rumors, he trains too hard. Coach Cal, strength and conditioning, like he's just destroying Chimaev's body. I don't know, but I will say I think that Chimaev still won this fight in my opinion. I thought that Chimaev landed more devastating shots on the feet. He broke Strickland's nose. He was constantly pressuring forward. Strickland was backing up the entire time. He was just throwing the jab the entire time, whereas Hamzat was throwing, a little bit more complicated combos. And I just thought that he had done enough. I thought he had won the first round. I thought he had won the third round. And then I think it was the fourth round that I thought I also gave to Hamzat. In my opinion, it was a close fight, so I won't say robbery, but I do think that Chimaev did enough to win this fight. Congrats to Sean Strickland, though. What did you think about this fight?
I think that Chimaev did win the fight. I think he did the most damage. He had the more impactful shots. He utilized his weapons better. He mixed his martial arts more efficiently. But that being said, I'm glad that Strickland won. I don't know. I love it. He captured lightning in a bottle twice, dude. You know what I'm saying? He made it happen.
Yeah, bro. Just say you hate. Just say you hate, bro. That's what it. That's what it comes down to.
No, I'm not trying to
Yeah.
get shit sent to my house.
Sure. Sure, buddy. Sure. Nah, but
Yeah, USA,
all jokes
baby.
aside, all jokes aside, congrats to Strickland. I think we have to start considering Strickland might be the middleweight GOAT. Just look at his resume,
That's
bro.
crazy,
The
dude.
guy beat
Silva over Silva.
I'm obviously joking, but the guy beat Israel Adesanya when nobody thought he could. The guy beat Hamza Chimaev when most people didn't think he could.
Fluffy.
The guy's already beat Fluffy. The guy beat Imavov. Like, Sean Strickland is the dark horse of the division. And it's crazy
Yeah.
because he always goes out and he says these crazy outlandish things. He says, oh, we're going to have a war, blah, blah, blah. And he never actually has a war. He just teeps and jabs you to death. But he's so good at that. Like, that's his game plan. And he's so good at executing it. He will outscore you. He will outvolume you. The takedown defense is great. It's like, it's not the most fun style to watch, but it's so respectable. Like, Sean Strickland is literally the guy that is the least convincing, but also like the most dangerous to fight against, because unless you absolutely knock him out cold, you have a pretty low chance of winning. Like, Dricus controlled him much better than Hamzat did, so hats off to Dricus. But like every other fight that Strickland has lost in the UFC, he's gotten knocked out cold or he's gotten TKO'd. So it's just like, I don't know, man. We got to give Strickland his flowers. The guy is much better than what people give him credit for. So congrats to Sean Strickland. The one thing I will say, or the last thing I'll say about this fight, I hated how it ended, as far as like, you can't talk all that shit during the presser. You can't say personal things, go below the belt, and have all this animosity. And then you guys go in there and before
Touch
the first round
gloves?
starts,
They
you
touch
touch gloves. You're
Twice?
hugging each other. You're hugging each other and dapping each other up in the 5th round. Like, and then come out after the fight and say, oh, it was all just to sell the fight. Nah, bro. You guys both, said below the belt things. There's no coming back from that. But
Hamzat put the belt on him.
yeah,
That's
it's just
so
like,
crazy.
I don't know, man. It just, to me, it was a bad look, because now if there is a rematch, how are you going to sell the fight now? You're going to go out there and say, oh, this guy's my brother. He's a warrior. We had a war in the first fight, blah, 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 all respect. Like, nobody's going to care at that point. Like, it's not going to be as hype. The reason that this fight was so anticipated was because people loved the bad blood. Like, that was the selling point. Now, in my opinion, the rematch just doesn't seem as exciting. And like, regardless of what happens in the rematch, like, we already know Strickland's either going to jab him to death, or Hamzat is going to actually look like Hamzat for once, come in, take him down, dominate. Like, I don't know. It was disappointing, but
Hamzat deserves a rematch. That was his first defense.
that's crazy. That's insane.
his
That's a
first
terrible
defense.
take. It doesn't
That's
matter,
his
dude.
first
Look at what the guy
defense.
has done in the UFC. The guy has dominated almost 90%, 95% of the people you put in front of him.
Pantoja again.
Yeah, but Pantoja and Hamzat were not the same caliber as far as, look at what Hamzat did from the moment. Listen. Hamzat, from the moment he came into the UFC, was finishing everybody. He had 2 absolute amazing fights, banger fights that were extremely competitive with Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns. Kamaru Usman, he 10-8'd in the first round. Nobody has ever done that to Kamaru Usman. He loses one fight, and you're saying he doesn't deserve a rematch? Insane. That makes zero sense.
That he's not on the level of Pantoja is insane.
No, I'm just saying that at the point that they lost their fights, that is not the same. Like, all respect to Pantoja. I love Pantoja. But Pantoja, from the moment he entered to the UFC, was not just absolutely finishing everybody and like an insane draw. I love the guy. I love watching him fight, and he is a finisher, but it is not the same thing. There is not the level of stardom between both guys. It just is not even comparable.
I think Hamzat's as chopped up as he is.
Like I said, you just hate but moving on. Let's start off with this weekend's card. We have Shauna Bannon versus Cagliari. I'm actually looking forward to this fight. A lot of people I saw online kind of shitting on this fight. In my opinion, I like Shauna Bannon. Dude, she makes her fights pretty exciting. I'm not going to lie. I've had her by submission a few times. I know her last fight, I think it was, I had her by submission. She's got sneaky jiu-jitsu. A lot of people don't talk about it. Her striking is also pretty good. She throws a lot of volume. My problem with Cagliari is I don't feel like she throws enough volume, and I don't know. She's had some lackluster performances. Like she's lost fights that she was supposed to win, and then I feel like she also has won fights that most people thought she was going to lose. Uh, I don't want to look too deep into it, but off rip, I like Shauna Bannon here. How do you see this fight going?
Yeah, I agree. I think that Bannon is going to be able to control the range a lot better, and she's a better striker. I think
Mhm.
that she's gotten a little more comfortable being here in the UFC now. She showed that she's been working on her grappling and whatnot. I like Bannon in this fight. I think by decision though. I don't think she gets a finish.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's also probably a decision. All right, here we have Barres versus Luis Gurriel. I'm gonna be honest, dude. Gurriel, I don't know how you say his name. I always pronounce it wrong, but
Rule.
his bro, his time in the UFC has been strange. Like he's had fights where he looks good, but then it's always like he either gets hurt or he just like I don't want to say he sells, but it's just like I don't know. I don't feel like he's living up to his potential in the UFC. Like the guy was incredible before he came to the UFC. And then, he gets knocked out by Ode Osborne, which I can't knock him for that. Ode does have very clean boxing, very clean striking. Like, it's not a terrible loss. He has the stinker fight against Jesus Aguilar. And then he goes and he fights Alden Correa, which I'm extremely high on Alden Correa, another 4-ounce fighter. Maybe it's just like, he's just had bad stylistic, matchups so far. Um, in this fight specifically, like Barres, this guy's pretty well rounded. He's got a good amount of submission wins, good amount of knockouts, but he's also losing to like Filio and Lima, which obviously like those aren't terrible opponents either. Those are pretty good competition, but like, I don't know, man. I just feel like the thing with Barres is he's one of those fighters that's like he's pushing 40. Um, and I just don't know how he's gonna look in this one. I do like that, he's a Spanish fighter. It's tough because I think that this is Barres' fight to win, but the age always worries me. 37 to 32 years old. I'm gonna go with Barres. I do think that he's gonna be well rounded enough to not have to worry about the grappling of Gurriel, and I do think that on the feet, Gurriel is kind of chinny at this point. Um, Give me Barres. How do you see this fight going?
No, I think that's a good take. I think Baraz also. I think that especially in that Korea fight, it really just shows that Rule doesn't really have like a lot of output. It says that he has more signature strikes landed per minute, but he just wasn't busy enough. It felt like in his fights,
Yeah.
and I think that Daniel's going to be able to keep up the tempo and fight the fight that he wants to, because that's just. I mean, Rule does just kind of. It seems that's the path that he falls into is letting the other person kind of dictate the fight.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's probably how the fight goes, if I'm being honest. Let's move on. We have Alice Ardeline versus Poliana Viana. Um, I'm not gonna lie, man. Viana, for her to be training and shoot the box, or at least that's where she had been training. I don't know if she's still there, but she's kind of like had a lackluster career, and I kind of want to blame it on the social media because it's like she's always with these fighters. She had the little like dating stint with Chama, but I see her with like some of the biggest stars in the UFC doing like social media videos, skits or whatever. But then she goes out there and fights and just doesn't look like she's training hard anymore. Like it seems like she made it to the UFC and now she's content and now she's just trying to live out the fame that has come from being in the UFC. And there's nothing wrong with that, but like, are you going to sacrifice your fighting career for fame, or are you going to lock in and try to continue to be a fighter at the highest level? She got submitted by Yasmin Lucindo. She got knocked out by Jillian Robertson, but really a TKO. Got submitted by Amarim. On the opposite side, I like Alice Ardeline, dude. I think that Ardeline she's game, bro. She's got good hands. She throws good volume. She's got good grappling. Um, she's really only lost to like some of the better competition. I like Ardeline in this fight. I think she's a significant favorite, though, right? Let me look at the odds real
She's
quick.
about 2-1. She's minus 198 on DraftKings.
Yeah,
I
I like Alice Ardeline here. I think that's a great line for her. I think it's a great parlay piece if you want to do that. Um, yeah, man, give me Alice Ardeline probably by decision. What do you think of this fight?
I I agree. I little concerned about the reach disadvantage, but I mean, cleaner hands and output comes from Alice. I I think Alice gets it done by either KO or decision. I mean, that's
KO.
unfortunate, you know. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I don't know. I could see it just. Pollyanna, she's been finished quite a bit. I feel like in her little stint.
Only submissions
Yeah.
and decision. Well, no, she did get knocked out by Jillian. My bad, but that was like a TKO, and that was because Jillian. I think she had her like back mounted or something. She had her like flattened out and was just raining punches. I don't think Alice is gonna be able to do that to Fiona like Jillian did, but
Okay.
who knows? Who knows? Probably is a
I'm
decision though
not
for both of
knocking
those.
Pollyanna for like her 3-fight streak that she's on right now though. You know, Yasmin and Jillian,
Yeah,
not
tough
bad
tough
people. You know.
opponents.
Yeah. But
I just think,
I
like I
do think
said,
this leans Alice. Yeah.
yeah, I just think it's the fame thing, bro. I think that she got a little taste of fame through the UFC, and now it's like she's not as focused. But we will see on Saturday. Next, we have Cody Brundage versus Andre Petroski. I'm not gonna lie, dude. Petroski, when he's on, he looks great. Great wrestling, great jujitsu, good striking. But then he has like those weird fights where like when he fought Jacob Malkoon, like that was such an awkward KO. Getting knocked out by the hip on like a shot that you take, crazy. Then he ends up knocking off a couple of wins. He had a Josh Frem win, Dylan Budka win, um, Adolfo Vieira, another good win. Loses the decision to Shabazian and then gets knocked out by our guy Cam Rouston. Not a bad loss though. Cam Rouston is a good loss. Like Cam Rouston is out there doing his fucking thing right now, so nothing to be ashamed about there. On the other end, Cody Brundage loses the decision to Dante Johnson, gets knocked out by Cam Rouston, loses the decision to Eric McConico, has that weird draw by Mansour Abdul Malik that should have been a KO, and then he knocks out Julian Marquez. Weird no contest with Abdul Razak Al Hassan. It's just like, excuse me. It's just like this guy's career has been.
The weirdest
It's like
ever.
up and down. Yeah, up and down, bro. Zach Reese win, pretty good win in my opinion. I mean, the submission was tight. Picks him up, slams him on his head, knocks him out cold. Cody Brundage pulls off wins, bro. He pulls them off whenever he is in a big fight that he absolutely needs to win. It's like he figures out ways. He has good wrestling. His striking isn't bad. The thing that I just don't like about Cody Brundage at times is he does not like to get hit. If he's getting hit with big shots, he does kind of crumble, respectfully. But this fight, I feel like this is a coin flip fight. Um, to me, it's going to be competitive. Obviously, I think that Petroski is going to want to grapple here. I think Cody Brundage might have decent success on the feet. Cody Brundage is almost a 2-1 underdog, so I don't know, man. This is one of those spots where I think I would probably take the spread on Cody Brundage. I think that as long as he doesn't get submitted, I think that he's going to make the fight competitive. Andre Petroski, if his chin holds up, I think he can win this fight by decision. I'm going to probably go Cody Brundage here, as crazy as it is. Probably an unpopular pick, but I think Cody can get it done. How do you see this one going?
I think Petroski decision, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that they're like the same guy fighting each other. Pretty much, you know, pretty decent wrestler. I mean, I do think that Petroski's wrestling is better than Brundage's, and that Brundage's hands are, or power at least, is better than Petroski's. I do think Petroski. I mean, he when he beat Adolfo, he did it with his hands, like boxing.
Mhm.
And it's just, I don't know. I think that he can probably get it done technique wise against Brundage, but Brundage is definitely very live for an upset. That Dante Johnson loss that he just got, he arguably could have won that one.
Yeah, a lot of people thought he was gonna get flatlined there.
Yeah, he was a huge underdog.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Definitely, Brundage is one that's dangerous to fade. But I do think Petrosky decision is one thing that I don't know. That's I'm very confident in. I don't doesn't get a lot of finishes and stuff. So he finds his ways to win his decisions.
Yeah, not a bad take. Let's move on. The next fight we have Ketlin Vieira versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. How do you think this fight goes?
I like Ketlin Vieira in this. I think she gave the champ her hardest fight really. Like she had her leaking. She's very well rounded and she does very well on the ground. She's got I think black belt in judo and jiu-jitsu. I think that she'll be able to neutralize Cavalcante.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, she'll have to be able to catch her though. I think that she's very fast, but I don't think that'll be a problem. She'll be able to cut off the cage pretty well.
Yeah, I actually like uh Jacqueline Cavalcanti a bit in this matchup. The only reason is
Okay.
because I think on the feet, Jacqueline is going to be levels above Ketlin. The thing that worries me about taking Cavalcanti is obviously the grappling. I think that Ketlin is going to have a clear advantage in the grappling. But that being said, I mean, Cavalcanti went out there and beat some pretty good names. Like, obviously, she beat Nora Cornell twice, once in the UFC, but once before that on the regional scene, who is a great striker, but also likes to use her grappling a bit in the UFC. Myra Buena Silva, she's got sneaky submissions. Like, I know she got dominated recently, but Myra has always been game. She's always had sneaky jujitsu. Obviously, she wasn't able to do that against Cavalcanti. I think this is one of those fights where Cavalcanti, as long as she keeps it on the feet, can defend the takedowns. I think that she's going to have a lot of success here. I think she's going to be able to clearly outstrike her. Obviously, she lands 5 significant strikes per minute versus Ketlin's 2. But the big question is going to be the grappling. Can she stop Ketlin from taking her down? I think she can. I think that's one of the things she's probably been working on the most in her camp. And I like her in this spot. I think that she's young, she's hungry. I think that, with Ketlin, fighting the champ, obviously taking a loss, sometimes that's pretty like debilitating. Like sometimes it just puts you in a bad spot mentally. Not saying that's going to be, what happens here with Ketlin, but Ketlin also just lost to Norma Dumont. Obviously a split decision, beat Macy Chesson. That's a good win. I don't know, man. I'm excited for this one. Honestly, I think it'll be competitive, but I'm gonna have to go with Cavalcanti here.
Definitely shoot her right up if she beats her.
Yeah, and so Cavalcanti's a favorite, -150.
Yeah.
I mean, Ketlin isn't a bad dog by any means. If she can utilize the grappling in round 1, she's super live. But all right, let's move on to the next fight. We have Tuco Tokos versus Urslan. This fight's still on, right? I know one of them got canceled.
Yeah, this one.
Okay, this one is still on. It was the Tommy Gant fight that got canceled.
Yeah. They found him some Artur Minev replacement.
Yeah, we'll go to that fight after this. So Tuco, another guy, man. He kind of reminds me of Cody Brundage as far as like the guy's had some odd fights in the UFC. Like he submits Junior Tafa, which obviously Tafa brothers, they don't have great jiu-jitsu. They don't have great takedown defense. Not a huge surprise there. He loses a decision to Navajo Sterling, which a lot of people thought he was going to get flatlined in. He actually looked pretty good in that fight. Omar C, he gets submitted by, and then everything else is pre-UFC. I don't know, man. Tuco is hard to read for me. Like, I still can't get a grip on what he's great at, if that makes sense. Like, respectfully, I can't categorize him as, is he obviously he's not a grappler, but like he's got some submission wins. He's got a couple KO wins. But in the UFC, it's like he hasn't really shown that. He hasn't shown that he has like crazy knockout power to knock out these guys. He has one submission and it's over a guy that has no grappling. On the other end, Ivan Erslan, I mean, this is tough, man. This is tough. He's got KOs. Obviously, he's got hands. He's got KO power, but like gets submitted by Jimmy Crute. Loses the decision to Sterling also. Loses the decision to Ian Cutelaba. Wins against, I don't know who that guy is at KSW. But to me, I think that this is a spot where Tuco can go out there and utilize his wrestling. If he can utilize his wrestling and hold down Erslan, I think that he's live to get the win here. But I think on the other end, dude, I think Erslan can knock him out. So I don't know who I want to pick here, dude. To be honest, I'm circling around it because I don't want to sound crazy regardless who I pick because I feel like either guy can get a dominant win depending on how the fight goes. Give me Erslan. 2 years younger, a little bit more dangerous on the feet. Fuck it, I'll take the shot. Give me Ivan Erslan. How do you think this fight goes?
Ivan's my pick too. I think that he's got the better hands. Tuco's really, he only seems dangerous probably like round one. You know, I think that even in the wrestling exchanges, he'll probably get tired late. And even though Tuco got that submission win, he's not like a beat. You know, I think that Ivan will be able to probably stifle his takedown attempts and be able to implement his game plan.
Okay. All right, well, let's move on to the other fight. I don't think it's on here. Yeah, it's not on here. Fuck it, we'll just skip it. It's the Gant fight. But
I don't know a lot about this Artur Minov anyway.
Yeah, I don't either because it was so short notice. Didn't really have a chance to look into him. So we'll skip that fight. But here we have Veretennikov versus Chaos Williams. Go ahead and tell me how you feel about this fight, and then I'll see if we're aligned.
I like Chaos Williams. I mean, I think that he's got a reach advantage and power. I think that he'll be able to get the job done. I think that in a card that's probably had a lot of decisions up until this point, he'll be able to give us a KO. Veretennikov, I mean, you know, still got to respect what's coming back his way too, though. You know, Chaos can't make any can't be too hasty.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do like Williams KO.
I'm actually leaning Chaos Williams decision here. I think both these guys are pretty durable. Veretennikov obviously KO'd Nico Price in his last fight. Lost the decision to Puna Soriano. He beat Francisco Prado before that.
Chaos, isn't he like he's got great wrestling, right?
He's got pretty good wrestling. He's not like a submission threat or anything, but yeah, he's not a bad wrestler at all.
Yeah,
I just think that like
that might be a good pick.
Yeah, I think on the feet, like they're both pretty sound defensively. I think that it's gonna be a majority stand-up fight, and I think that Chaos Williams is probably gonna land more volume, more impactful shots. So I'm gonna take.
You made me flip right then because you reminded me of that Puna loss. I mean, Puna. I remember him being like, "Oh, I'm not happy about this win," because he had to essentially lay and pray to get it. And I don't know. That tells me that Veretennikov, he's dangerous on the feet. That's your best bet to control. Puna's, controlling him, which even though that's kind of what he's been doing lately, anyways. He's got knockout power. Then Chaos would probably be able to implement that game plan too. So I think that Chaos decision's sharp pick.
Yes, sir. All right, moving on. We have Timothy Kwamba versus Bernardo Sopai. Dude, I'm pretty big on Bernardo Sopai. I'm gonna be honest. I met him in LA for the Islam Moicano card. He's a super cool dude. I was super impressed with him. Obviously, he has the loss to Vinicius Oliveira, but like after seeing what Vinicius has done in the UFC and the guys that he has beat, I think that Vinicius is just obviously another level, but I think Bernardo, man, he's got great striking. He's got good grappling. He trains at All Stars. He's just, he's had some tough or not some tough matchups, but he had a tough matchup with Vinicius Oliveira. He beat Ricky Tercios pretty soundly. And Timothy Kwamba, on the other hand, man, that last fight that he had with it wasn't Chang Ho Lee, it was Robert Romero. So it wasn't his last fight, but the second to last fight against Roberto Romero, crazy fight, bro. Crazy fight. Finds the knee, gets the KO. Um, I don't know, man. Timothy Kwamba has great striking. He's got good boxing. His grappling is a little sus, in my opinion. I think that Bernardo can kind of capitalize on that here. I think Bernardo can implement the grappling, take him down. I don't know if he'll find a submission, but I do think he'll win minutes. So I'm leaning Bernardo decision here. How do you see this one going?
I like Kwamba. I mean, like you said, his boxing. I really like his hands, and I mean, if Bernardo is able to implement that grappling, then I can definitely see him winning a decision. But I like Kwamba decision as well. Probably. I don't think he's going to knock out Bernardo, even though he does have, he sets his strikes up very well. He does have the power to do it.
Mhm.
I think this one goes the distance.
All right, moving on. We have, I think, okay, yeah, this is the right fight. We have Malcolm Wellmaker versus Juan Diaz. I think that this is a good fight for Malcolm Wellmaker to bounce back. Obviously he lost to Ethan Ewing, which was like a pretty big upset at the time at Madison Square Garden. But we've seen how high level Ethan Ewing is. Like, he went out there, he beat two undefeated guys. I don't take too much away from that loss. I don't really hold that above Wellmaker's head. I think that Wellmaker, this is a good spot for him to kind of, clear his head, go out there, show that he's still extremely talented, that he still has what it takes to move up, start fighting some ranked guys soon. I like him in this spot. I think he's gonna get the knockout. All respect to Juan Diaz, but I just think that Juan Diaz, like, I don't know, man. I don't think he has the specific set of skills to go out there and do what like Ethan Ewing did. I do think that this fight's gonna take place mostly on the feet, and I think if that happens, I think that Malcolm Wellmaker is gonna find that left hook and get the knockout. But Diaz did have that crazy spinning back elbow on the Contender Series, so maybe he lands one of those against Wellmaker. Who knows? But I like Wellmaker. How do you see this fight going?
I think Wellmaker KO's very live. I like that whenever Chris Moutinho came back or whatever, I remember thinking like, oh, he'll probably just get a decision win against Moutinho or whatever. Moutinho's durable and whatnot. But then he knocks him out like cold in the first round. That just shows that this man's got crazy power, and he sets up it showed his feints that he was working on to set up that knockout combo. It's like he understands the knockout setup very well. And so, I mean, for a guy coming in making your first fight in the UFC and Diaz, that's a tough test. But I think Ethan Ewing, that's the kind of loss that's going to make a guy like Wellmaker grow. And the fact that he's so good in his striking that he honestly didn't get finished by Ethan, because I really like Ewing. Like Ewing's really good, and so that really just shows that the levels. So I think this is a tough first fight for Diaz.
I agree. Moving on to the co-main event, we have Duho Choi versus Santos. I think this fight's gonna be a banger, man. This is like potential fight of the night. I like Duho Choi. I like the striking that he has. He's had some good wins or some impressive performances, like the knockout over Nate Landwehr, the knockout over Bill Aljo. Obviously, he had to take time off because I think it was his mandatory army service or whatever in Korea. Yeah. But Daniel Santos, on the other hand, dangerous dude, super dangerous, shoot the bucks guy. He's good everywhere. My issue with Santos is that I feel like sometimes he's very hittable. Sometimes his defense is not as sharpened as it should be, and I feel like he can get hit. And I feel like Duho Choi, he's got really crisp boxing. But I do think that if Santos goes out there and he utilizes his grappling a bit. I think if he throws some of those crazy like knees and elbows that the shoot the box guys like to throw, I do think that he can have success here. So I'm going to pick Daniel Santos. Obviously, I love the shoot the box guys. I'm a big Brazilian fan. But yeah, I just hope that he's on his P's and Q's defensively, and I'm hoping that we get a banger fight regardless of what the outcome is. How do you see this one going?
I think that Doohu Choi KO is always worth the sprinkle. It's if that's not the way that it goes, then I can see a Silva decision.
Hmm.
But I don't know. It's kind of a tough one because I can definitely see him controlling with the grappling. I don't see him out striking him unless he really utilizes his kicks. But I, I don't know. The DGen in me likes going for because Dooku Choi is the underdog, and
Yeah.
he's coming off 2 KO wins in a row after taking time off and whatnot. So shows that he did it well. So I like it. I like Dooku Choi KO.
All right, moving on to the main event. We have Arnold Allen versus Melky Costa. Sorry, not Acosta. Costa. I'm gonna start with Arnold Allen. So I like Arnold Allen. Obviously, uh, his last five, he's won two, lost three. But if you look at the level of competition, like he lost a decision to Gene Silva, he lost a decision to Evloev, and then he lost a decision to Max Holloway. Not bad losses whatsoever. He beats Giga by decision. Um, and then he also KOs Calvin Cater, which is a pretty big feat because Calvin Cater is very durable, but he had that weird knee injury or whatever it was. I just this one is hard for me, man. It's kind of a coin flip because I think that over 5 rounds, I think Arnold Allen is extremely live. I think that he's got the better cardio. I think that he fights a bit smarter. I would say, he has a little bit better fight IQ. The problem with Allen, he's not very active. He doesn't throw a lot of volume. And for me, that's kind of a problem in this matchup because I do think that if Melky decides, he's not going to just throw crazy shots and he's going to actually try to be a bit more technical and calculated here, I think that Melky could win a decision based off damage and volume. And if you look at Melky's, career, his last five, he has a 6-fight win streak, but out of his last five, he has a submission win over Andre Fili, decision win over C-Rod, decision win over Julian Erosa, which he almost knocked out Julian Erosa. Obviously, the brutal head kick KO over Morgan Charrier, and then the KO over Dan Ige, which was also a crazy spinning back kick. One of the flashiest knockouts I think I've ever seen. I think that Costa's confidence right now is at its peak. I think that he's extremely motivated. He's finishing guys. He looks great. I think that if he gets it done, it's going to be early in this fight. Unfortunately, I think if it does go all 5 rounds or, ends in the 4th or 5th round, I think Arnold Allen is going to end up catching him with something. So I'm going to go with Melky. Give me Melky. I don't know about finish, man. Arnold Allen is so damn durable. But give me Melky to win. How do you see this fight going?
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure. So I'm a huge Arnold Allen fan. I love Almighty Allen, but I think that he's really found his stride lately. I think he's gonna find a way to make it happen. I do concern about his cardio. He gasses, and this being a 5-round fight, that could put a position where Arnold Allen gets a KO. But I do see Melky being able to etch out a decision. But I don't know. I'm definitely excited for this fight. It makes me nervous because I like both of these fighters, and it's like Allen loses. It's kind of like big implications. That's 3-fight, or is that a 3-fight losing skid? No, I think he's checkering him right now.
For Allen?
Yeah. So I mean,
If
5,
Allen
3
loses,
out of
it's a
5.
2.
It's still pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah, if he loses, it's yeah. If he loses, it'll be 4 out of 5.
And that's crazy when you're looking at the guy that was 19-1 fighting Max Holloway. That
Yep.
didn't seem that long ago. And then Melky, I remember watching him come up. I was like, oh, I don't know. He seems like he's trading wins for losses too. But then you're looking at how it ages, and it's like, there was Steve Garcia knocking him out, and that, he's about to fight on the White House lawn, and Thiago Moises sub whenever your UFC debut, like that's gonna happen. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's definitely, I think Melky's just found his stride, and it might be his time.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that was UFC Fight Night. Arnold Allen versus Melky Costa. I'm looking forward to that card. I know a lot of people are kind of shitting on it because we just had a banger card, but I like these cards. I think these cards are, if you're a UFC gambler, this is the type of card that you typically can make good money on. There's good spots and the lines aren't too crazy, so I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a good card overall, but I want to go ahead and let's open a UFC Home of Fight collectibles repack. Let me get this up. Share my screen. Jesus. Here we go. Repacks. All right. So, I think the last time we did this was the Elite pack out yet? I don't think it was. I think it was just the premiere. Yeah, I think it was just the premiere, but I think maybe next week I might open one of these packs on my own and have it put it out on my Instagram and stuff later this week. But we're going to open a premiere pack. All right, man. Who are we trying to get this time? Who do we want to pull?
I want Jim Miller.
Jim Miller.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get a Jim Miller. Honestly, you know who I want?
UFC 100 Jim Miller.
I want a Sean Brady. All right, let's cross our fingers. Let's hope we get a Sean Brady or a Jim Miller or a Joshua Van. That'd be kind of cool. All right, let's go. Who do we get? Oh my God. We got an Amanda Lemos. Are you kidding me, bro? Oh, that's brutal.
Hey, it's a 10.
That's brutal. Yeah, it is a PSA 10. Damn, bro. We got an Amanda Lemos. Let's look at it. Let's look. Amanda Lemos, neon green, PSA 10.
That's her losing a title fight?
Probably. $30 value. That's not terrible. Damn, I was hoping we were going to get a Sean Brady or a Joshua Van. But
you didn't want a fucking Jim Miller, bro?
But that's the that's the luck of the draw. How do I... Oh, there we go. That's the luck of the draw. But if you want to try your luck, go to homeoffightcards.com through collectibles. You can either get the Premier Pack or the Elite Pack. The Elite Pack, there's some crazy cards over there that are worth thousands. So go try that. Let's get into some MMA news, bro. So obviously, we just had UFC 328. But during the UFC 328 fight week, Friday, we had the UFC 250 Freedom presser. And it was kind of crazy, bro. I was there. It was chaotic. They threw Josh Hokett out. Ilya and Chama were there. They were about to jump Josh Hokett. It was crazy, but let's watch this video and see what happened.
And I said, Shama. Well, why didn't he do anything when I was there?
He says Shama. He speaks English.
He doesn't need me to.
He speaks English. He says Shama.
Hey, you're
Ele falou Shama, você fala
What the
inglês.
fuck? Little bitch. I'm the real BMF belt. Little short midget. You.
Fuck you, little bitch.
You little
Sit
midget.
down.
Come up to a real I'll give it to anybody. I don't give a
Algum comentário?
Hey, you have your boyfriend speaking for you?
Tá deixando o Ilha falar por você, é isso?
my performance.
Take this little
He's
pussy
the
out.
Grammys.
Take this little
And
pussy
Ilya
out.
Taporia.
Take
showed
him
us
out.
all
Take him
that
out.
you
Get
shouldn't
out of-
find your wife in
Get
Miami.
out. Get out.
Am I
Get
right,
out.
New Jersey?
Bye, you little pussy.
Oh, he speaks English.
That was crazy, man. That was crazy. I thought it was hilarious that UFC like escorted Josh Hokett off. Kind of made Ilya seem like he's the man in charge. He's like, get him out of here, get him off, and the security just escorting him out. My biggest thing though out of that was like, yo, since when are Chama and Ilya like homies like that? I thought it was kind of cool that Ilya kind of, stood up for him, even though he didn't need to, and he's also like half his size. But yeah, that was crazy, man. That was crazy. How did you feel about that?
I thought Josh Hokett was funny whenever he's like, Shama, like, God, dude. He's just like he's bullying. It was like bully humor. And I don't know, that's the stuff that makes the bad blood. So it's, these cards, we were talking about how they're not really like big name value, but they're important. This is what you need. This is how you make the stars. It's like those moments, that's how you make the stars. And I don't know. I like whenever we have pressers that have shit popping off. I know it's not necessarily the safest thing to have bottles being flung or whatever, or dollies or whatever.
Yo, he sniped his ass with that shit,
Yeah.
bro. Right between the eyebrows. Just think. I was like, yo, Ilya's a fucking sniper. Inside and outside of the octagon, bro. That shit was crazy. But yeah, I mean, Josh Hokett obviously is just trying to make a fight with him and Alex Pereira. It's pretty obvious, but I like it. I at least like. I will say this. When Hokett first got into the UFC through Contender Series, I hated the persona. I thought it was so cringy. The Incredible Hulk thing was like super cringy. I'm like, dude, this is not WWE. I didn't like it. But now it's kind of growing on me. I'm not going to lie. Because it's like, we all know it's over the top and it's like, he's just being, extra. But I like when it adds a little bit of drama. Like it adds a little bit of flavor, a little bit of seasoning to the future of like all the shit talk that he had with Curtis Blades. I was like, dude, Curtis Blades is going to go out there and knock this guy out. He made me want to see that fight because I was praying he got knocked out. It's like the Jake Paul effect. You talk a lot of shit. You make everybody hate you, but you make everybody watch you. You make everybody want to see your fights. And he's doing it extremely well. Although,
and he backs it up. He did
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I don't know how a fight against Chama would go for him, but
Yeah.
But yeah, man, hopefully that's a fight that we see in the future. I think if he goes out there and he knocks out Derek Lewis, if Chama loses to Cyril Gane, I think that's a fight that is very likely to be made. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Moving on though, this weekend, besides the UFC card, we have the MVP card on Netflix, headlined by Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano. I'm not gonna lie though, the fight that I'm like really looking forward to on this card, Nate Diaz, Mike Perry, but also this is an old graphic. Moikaev and Morales is no longer happening. It's gonna be Morales and damn, what's that guy's name? I'm blanking. I'm sorry. He is fighting. Why did I say Morales? I meant Moraes.
Right.
Adriano Moraes is fighting Pumi Nakuda. This guy, Nakuda, is crazy, bro. He's extremely good. He trains over there with Ray Longo. And this guy has multiple belts. He's undefeated, multiple belts in the regional promotions. And this is like his big break. This is like his first fight on a massive stage. So I'm looking forward to this fight. I think it's going to be extremely competitive. Both guys are extremely dangerous. Don't you know Jason Jackson?
No.
Oh, I don't know why. I thought he was the guy that trains at Brunson's. What's that dude's name? The bare knuckle.
That's AJ Fry. Oh, you're talking about Coach James Brown.
James. Yeah, sorry. I saw it's the J. The J just made me think, and they kind of look alike if I'm being honest. But yeah, man. Obviously Alex Pereira, his sister Alice Pereira is fighting on this card, so that's also a fight that I'm looking forward to. Chris Avila, I like Chris Avila, a guy who trains with Nate Diaz, grew up together with him. I'm gonna be honest, the Francis Ngannou fight, I don't really care for it, bro. Felipe Lins was so mid in the UFC, like, and they're trying to kind of play this fight off like it's gonna be like a, oh my god, like, is this gonna be Ngannou's toughest test, bro? First off, Ngannou fought at heavyweight in the UFC and was dominant. Felipe Lins was mid tier and was fighting at, what was it, middleweight? I think at one point.
Oh, I'm not sure. I haven't even looked into him too much.
Let's see, he was fighting at, no, light heavyweight. I'm sorry, he was fighting at light heavyweight. And even at light heavyweight, like, he was pretty mid in the UFC, if I'm being quite honest.
That's crazy. They got him against Francis.
And they're making him fight Francis Ngannou. Crazy ass matchup. This is a layup for Francis to go out there and get a brutal KO on the Netflix card. Yeah, man. I'm gonna watch this obviously, but I'm not like super into it. What do you think of the card?
I think that it's like the whole thing's weird. Like, don't get me wrong. I think like if anything's gonna be rivaling entertainment value, I guess, that the UFC can produce in the MMA world, it would be a card like this. But this isn't a card that is feasible to do once a month or whatever. And this whole card is built off of, I mean, honestly, the back of the UFC. It feels. I mean, short of like, like Marias and Avila, Alice Pereira, I mean, just all the ones that aren't like the huge names that are the big draws, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. I think competition's healthy. I wish there was more of it. I wish it felt a little closer in the MMA world.
What do you mean?
Like, I don't know. These are all like
Old, washed up
fighters. Yeah, these are all fighters that aren't in their prime anymore. This isn't like up and coming talent. This isn't a hot young star that's making a name for themselves or anything. It's just, this is this is kind of like the argument Dana has with boxing. It's like everything seems like a going out of business sell. Like, you need to go ahead and just buy and large here right now.
Yeah.
It's like, this doesn't really set up like a future for his MVP brand, I feel.
Yeah, I follow that. I agree. I think, this is really all that MVP is able to get at this point, because obviously the biggest stars are with, the PFLs, the one championships, and obviously the UFC. So these are just a bunch of fighters that are not with those organizations. So it's kind of hard to find like the top talent that isn't already, signed to some other organization. But all in all, I'm gonna watch it. I'll give Jake Paul, a couple hours of my life, I guess. But I think we'll get some good matchups. Like, I think some of these fights will, I think some of these fights will be, crazy finishes or whatever. But we'll see. That was UFC Fight Night, Allen versus Costa. We went over some news. We ripped a card for Homa Fight, their repacks. Yeah, I guess thank you guys for sitting here listening to us ramble about last week's card, this week's card. We hope you'll come back next week, and hopefully we'll have some more exciting fights to break down. But all right, man, you got anything else you want to say?
Not really. Just like I said, so I started doing that streaming thing. If you want to follow me on Twitch, same handle, UFC Zach, that'd be appreciated. Other than that, thank you guys for giving us your time and stopping in this week and listening to us talk, give our takes, and talk about all the shakeups that just happened at UFC 328. And see you guys next week.
Absolutely. We'll see y'all then.
This is Corner Talk.